Hi there, and welcome to Porsche 2020. My name is Jonathan Williamson. I'm the marketing specialist here at Porsche Center Calgary. Thank you all so much for joining us today. As always, if you have any questions during our live stream, please do not hesitate to put them down in the comments and we'll do our best to answer them for you. Today I'm being joined by a couple of really great entrepreneurs. These entrepreneurs are basically they are our company. They work for us for installing our EV chargers. So I'd like to welcome Virtuoso Energy here to the live stream. Welcome, gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks for having us, John.
Thanks for having us.
Great. So this is Gersh, and we've got Kai here with us. So can you tell us a little bit about your company and the services that it offers?
Yeah, so Virtuoso Energy is a sustainable lifestyle company that focuses on enabling Canadians to live more sustainably in their everyday lives in 3 different ways: energy efficiency, solar PV, and electric vehicle charging infrastructure. And as a company, we offer it as a turnkey service. So design, engineering, installation, and maintenance, so that everybody in Canada can ultimately live a sustainable lifestyle. And Porsche is a big proponent to that as well, with their EVs that they currently have and their hybrids that they currently have as well too.
Wonderful. So please tell me a little bit about your individual backgrounds.
I can start on that one. So Kai, as mentioned, I have an electrical background, master electrician, have a lot of experience in different scale projects. So I am in charge of operations for the company, managing different projects like Gersh was mentioning. We'll do solar, electric vehicle infrastructure, and LED. Pretty much that's my background. I'm originally from Germany, funny enough, actually from Stuttgart. So the home of Porsche, which is awesome, kind of ties into this. Other than that, that's kind of the high overview.
Yeah, and I'm the director of business development with Virtuoso Energy, and I also have an electrical background and have my RSE. And my journey with Virtuoso has been going on for about 5 or 6 years now. Prior to that, I was working as an electrician for some other companies, which led me to the path that I'm on today, which allows me to be able to work with companies like Porsche to develop some awesome programs and to be able to figure out how do we unlock the potential for the sustainability industry overall. I'm also have European background, so working with a company like this is a little bit of a dream, but also a really good fit.
Mm-hmm. We're so happy to have these gentlemen helping us out and bringing electric vehicle charging solutions to Calgary and improving that network grid. So can you gentlemen describe a little bit about being a preferred supplier for Porsche?
Yeah, from our perspective, it's a massive opportunity. Getting involved with a brand such as this, it wasn't an easy process. The reason being, Porsche has very high standards, and we needed to make sure that we hit all the marks and hit them with excellence. Once we established that process, we had to go through some preliminary training to understand exactly what kind of products were coming to the market, understanding exactly how they would work with the vehicles, and understanding how they would work with our clients' needs as well too. So going through that process ultimately is an interesting one, and on the back end of it, once we got through that process and were preferred, it's allowed us to be able to have a little bit more intimate access with the vehicles, as well as some of the awesome staff such as Jonathan and Kirk behind the camera. I know you can't see him, but it's been a pleasure to be able to work with them and some of the sales staff and management here as well too.
Fantastic. So I know you gentlemen, when we went out earlier on in the summer, if you've ever seen any of our videos, we went off to Kananaskis in a partnership with them for a Kananaskis drive. Can you guys tell me a little bit about what it was like to experience the Taycan for the first time?
It's hard to put into words. It's unreal experience. Pretty much you get to feel the car itself with no sound, which is, I think, one thing that a lot of people have a hard time getting used to, is actually feeling the raw power and the actual acceleration of the car without hearing it. So that was a pretty cool aspect. And then just having it in nature when it's a fully sustainable vehicle, that was kind of the coolest part of that whole photo shoot, is just bringing that all together and then being able to do it at a sunrise photo shoot. It was an experience I guess we loved and want to experience more of. So
absolutely. Well, we'll get you folks in for a test drive later on this afternoon once we're done this live stream. So we'll be sure to get the city Taycan driving experience done for you guys. So from a home charging standpoint, is the Taycan any different from any other electric vehicle?
It is and it isn't. And the reason why I can say that on both ends of the spectrum is that because Porsche is a higher end product, you're getting some really nice options with the charging stations. You can choose a mobile connector, which you can take anywhere. So let's say, for example, if you plan on using this vehicle for extended drives between 2 different locations, they have that as an option, but that same option can also be integrated into a wall mount solution, which is quite nice and aesthetically pleasing. A lot of companies don't offer that. They either have one or the other, so you end up spending double the money. So not only is the Porsche option nicer, but it's actually more cost effective from a user standpoint.
Absolutely. And personally, I really love the aesthetic of our Porsche chargers. They really create such a beautiful and premium charger installation. So it's almost like adding a little piece of art to your garage. So could you tell us a little bit of the software or apps that can help manage the charging process?
Yeah, so with the charging process, you will have I believe it's an MMI system for Porsche, yeah.
Or sorry, no, it's the Porsche Connect.
Sorry, Porsche Connect, the Porsche Connect system, which we've had the chance to be able to set it up to its maximum degree, which is coupled with a home energy management system. So beyond just the charging stations, there's also an additional piece of technology that Porsche has for their homeowners. It combines the ability to be able to view where your energy in your home is going in relation to your electric vehicle. And if you have solar panels on your home as well too, it'll be able to manage all of that. That integrates nicely with the Porsche app, and that'll be able to tell you exactly what's going on with your vehicle, how charged it is, what's the condition of your battery, and you can do pre-phasing and things of that nature. So it's a very high level of control, and it's all easy. Like you can just basically prep your vehicle for a drive if you want to go for an exciting and fast drive. If you're planning on going somewhere with windy roads, you can prep the car before going, or if you want to just leave, you can just walk right up to the car and pull the door handle like any other vehicle.
Exactly. So what would be the benefit of pre-cooling or preheating your car before going for a spirited drive, depending on the season?
So the main benefit with that is just the battery, the warmth of the battery. So you're able to actually unlock more of the power of the vehicle a lot of the times. Right. They'll have it limited. So, and then as well with the fast charging networks, if it's already warm and the batteries are warm, it'll actually allow you to charge quicker. So for those cases, like you're saying, if you're going out for a more sporty of a drive, you're probably going to use more of the power. And then when the battery's already warm, you're going to be able to charge faster on that fast charging network. And then you can grab right back to the road.
Fantastic.
So you're not wasting time with it.
Right. So yes, as you know, here in Calgary, we have some pretty brutal winters. So that's something that would be a pretty big consideration for me. I love to get into my vehicle when it's already pre-warmed. So the vehicle's warm for me, the battery's happy, I'm happy too. So in terms of safety, I know that we're dealing with some, definitely some high voltage situations here, but what safety precautions are put in place to prevent any sort of any negative occurrences or malfunctions with the vehicle from the chargers?
So on the home side, pretty much, again, the certification, we went through the training and actually looked at what's the infrastructure that's being put in, and then it's electrical with breakers, then there's internal trip systems on the actual charger itself, that if there was an issue with the car and the communication between them, it would trip the charger and turn off. Right. So the safety for that is pretty much saving the car. In the end, the asset is your car and your house, and both of them need to be secured. So you have the electrical side on the charger, and then the communication with the car, where they kind of talk to each other. If there's any faults or anything like that, it will turn off the power, and it'll make sure that that there's no hazards or anything like that. So
fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, to simplify it, it's the equivalent of a 6-year-old wearing a helmet, elbow pads, knee pads, and hockey pads, and then getting on rollerblades. It's about 4 or 5 levels of safety between the dangers that could be and the actual vehicle itself. So there's a lot of different fail-safes in place.
Fantastic. Yeah, so in terms of the charger unit itself, so as you guys know, Virtuoso here is going to be your contact when it comes to installing your EV charger into your home. What type of support do you offer a customer after the unit is installed?
Yeah, it's designed to be turnkey. So let's say, for example, you have any issues whatsoever with any of the charging infrastructure that you have installed. You don't have to jump through the hoops of having to go back to the sales individual that you talked to at Porsche or go to the actual center itself. You can simply contact us over our maintenance portal. So either whether that be through text message or email. And if you have any issue, it's a 24/7 line. So you can just reach out to us and see if you have any issues from that point. And we'll be able to mediate and help you manage any of the issues that do arise. Typically, these are designed to be low maintenance devices. They're simple in their design, and the components that Porsche has been using inside their devices are very high quality. So the incident rate of any issues happening is quite low. So you shouldn't have any issues, but if you do, we're typically your first point of contact.
Fantastic. So how do I know what NEMA cord I need to order with my Taycan? As on the website, they actually list an optional 6050 supply cord. What's the difference between a 1450 and a 6050?
So pretty much it's just the front end of it. We suggest the 650. It's a more user-friendly plug-in and actually smaller for inside the charger itself. The communication that we've had with you guys and some of the sales team is pushing for that. There's not really, unless they have an existing 1450, there's no really reason to go between the two. Right. The 650 is actually the most common one that we've seen and that we've installed. So we highly recommend that one. And that would be another thing that we can go through in the assessment process and say, this is what your electrical infrastructure, this is what you need, kind of thing. So it's all part of the process, yeah.
Okay, so what a lot of our customers, of course, they are wondering what the cost would be for a typical install. So what would be the basic cost of a home installation? What factors would increase or decrease this cost? I know that this is variable and this can be difficult, but we just want to give sort of a range of what the prices are for a typical install. Yeah, please take it away.
So I'll take it from the high level. And when you're getting an electric vehicle charging station put in your home, one of the first things that you want to take in consideration is that the property value is now going up. You now have a home that's equipped with the ability to be able to charge a car, but in order to make sure that it's taken into consideration, an electrical permit has to be pulled. That'll be the first cost that's taken into consideration. Typical costs for electrical permit are about $125, and on more expensive projects can be up to about $300 in that range. The other considerations are labor, so somebody showing up, doing the installation. Generally, and almost always from our perspective, if you're choosing Virtuoso as an installer, it's a certified electrician, whether that be a journeyman and apprentice, there's always a journeyman on site. So that's the cost associated with the labor, and then there's the actual cost associated with the hardware itself. So you're dealing with the charging station provided by Porsche, which typically when you're buying the vehicle, you get that with the vehicle itself. And then from our end, it could be a few different things. It could be electrical wires that are required, breakers, and the potential of an energy management system, which would be above and beyond. So the ranges on those do vary, and I'll let you touch on that side.
Yeah, so it can range, it's a pretty big range. It can honestly be from like 1,500 to, we had a very crazy situation where it's like 40,000, but that's very rare. So your normal installations are gonna be around 1,500 to under 5,000. Again, depending on the infrastructure that your home has, it's a big variable. So that's why we do the free site assessment to come take a look, walk through it with you, see exactly the needs that you have, where you want the charging location, and then we can get you an accurate price on that. So.
Fantastic, thank you. So when you mentioned the initial assessment here, so a little bit of the process here is when you do purchase a Porsche Taycan from us, we will put you in contact here with Virtuoso Energy, and from there they will go over and do a site visit with you and discuss what your individual needs are and help assess what you would like to have, because of course there are very many different things that you can add on. One of my personal favorite add-ons would be solar. So could you guys tell us just a little bit about what different types of packages and what the benefits would be for adding solar to your electric charging?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two different approaches that most of the Porsche clients will take. Is one, to be able to offset the energy utilized by the vehicle, or two, to be able to offset the vehicle and their entire house. So depending on your actual home that you plan on installing this on, if you do live in a home townhouse or something of that nature where there's a roof surface available that's underneath your ownership or management, that would be the first consideration. Is, do you want to enable your transportation to be carbon neutral and secured from an energy cost perspective, or do you want your entire home? So that's the first few benefits that we end up having there. Is one is control of your energy costs. When you are buying an electric vehicle, there are many environmental benefits that I think most people understand, but there are also many financial benefits. The first financial benefits of an electric vehicle is just significant amount less of moving parts in the vehicle itself. So it'll be visiting the Porsche Center a little bit less, which, I mean, I'm sure they're not overly happy about, but at the same time, they know that it's a Porsche product, so it's going to be reliable regardless. On the second side of things is you have now the freedom to never have to go to a gas station again. So if you're buying a full EV model, that is. And that allows you to be able to charge your vehicle in the comfort at your home at the hours that you want it to, but it also gives you the ability to power that vehicle over the year. So what we do as a company is we will come in, take a look at your home, take a look at the roof line, take a look at the electrical infrastructure, and let you know what the capacity and the available energy production of your roof is to be able to power your car or your home. And from there, you're locking in your costs. Typical solar panels will last 35 to 40 years. They're warranty for 25 years. So when you're taking a look at it from an economics perspective, take into consideration having to fill up, I guess that's one of the questions too, a Panamera. That costs probably what, like $100, $110 versus fueling a Taycan can be about $10 to $15. Now take it from doing it from solar, you're talking almost in some cases like nil cost, so it's quite nice.
Absolutely. So what does it cost approximately to drive a Taycan 100 kilometers versus something like a Panamera that might be about 10 liters per 100 kilometers of highway driving?
So when you're looking at the Taycan for 100 kilometers, I guess it would depend. If you're plugging in at your house, you need about probably 2 or 3 hours of charging, which in the end is going to cost you like under $1. If you're looking at like 60 cents to $1, super cheap compared to a gas vehicle, obviously, depending on, again, it's usually what we like to say is a tenth. It is the price between gas and electric right now. If you start getting into solar in your home, then pretty much zero depending on when you charge it, right? So
absolutely. And we love the fact that we're living in one of the sunniest climates here in Alberta, so that is a huge advantage for us. So let the sun shine and it'll power your Taycan along. I love that. So in terms of using your Taycan at home, I'm not fully familiar exactly with the cost of electricity in a home, but versus charging a supercharger station, we do have the Electrify Canada supercharger stations in locations such as in just outside Cochrane on Highway 1 there. What would sort of be the cost there depending on a supercharger or charging at home?
Let's say your car is completely empty. You roll up to one of the supercharging stations and you have to charge it up. To be able to get it to 80%, which is what most electric vehicle charging or electric vehicle owners will charge their car to, it'll probably take about $15 to $16 if you do it at a supercharging station, and if you do it at home, it'll probably be about $3. Yeah, about $3.
Right.
Yeah.
So in my experience, driving the Taycan out to Banff and using the supercharger station, you don't even, of course, need to go from 0 to 80%. Of course, that's hypothetical, but usually what I ended up doing was about a 20% little top up there, and that cost me about $6, and it was really quick. Like I wasn't even done my coffee yet, so the car was done before I was. Going back to solar a little bit. This is something that is new for a lot of us here in Alberta, but what are the standard sizes of solar panels and how much electricity do they commonly produce?
So it'll depend, I guess that's a very specific question to the panel, but I guess your normal one is kind of a Canadian solar module. You're looking at anywhere from 315 to 335 right now wattage per panel. Production of one panel isn't really, I guess, a measurement you would take. You'd more look at just a smaller system. In Calgary, depending on what roof it's on, what angle, if you're facing south, you can get about a 1.3, roughly 1.25, 1.3 out of it.
So about 400 kilowatt hours in a year.
Yeah, so really good ratio here. An example before when Gersh was talking about the packages, you can actually look at about 8 to 10 panels can power your Taycan for the year.
Right.
Depending, again, when you're charging all those things. But yeah, it's very, very good environment for that.
Absolutely. And as you folks know as well, we do have some pretty inclement weather here in Calgary. I know I spoke with you right after that giant hailstorm in the northeast earlier on in the year. I guess, how do these solar panels stand up when it comes to inclement weather such as hail?
Yeah, on our end, for our site specifically, it was great. We had thousands of panels in that area as well too. And when you're taking a look at how many we had issues with, it was 3 panels in total. And that was right in the heart of where the storm parked. So that was one of our commercial sites where the panels were installed at a very shallow angle. Most regularly, solar panels that are installed in homes are installed between 30 to 40 degrees, and they're rated for what they call 4R, so 100 kilometer per hour golf ball size hailstones at a direct blow. When they're installed at a 30 to 40 degree angle, that's a glancing blow at best, so that's why we didn't see any issues on residential properties. Right. We saw 3 panels on a commercial property, and that was at a 12-degree pitch.
It ended up actually only being 1.
Oh, it ended up being 1.
We tested it was only 1.
Okay,
it was
so
actually broken.
Sorry, so it was only 1 that was broken, and that was out of 600 panels on that one site?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. But if it's 1, let's just call that a manufacturer's defect.
Yeah. So chances are that your solar panel will, survive any type of inclement weather much better than just about
Yeah.
anything I can think
There's
of.
a running joke in our industry. If the right storm comes through, your house will be gone, but the panels will be there.
Love that. So what would be the typical lifespan of a solar system that would be added to the roof of your home?
Yeah, so it basically, the one thing to understand with solar panels, they degrade like anything else. It's like if you take a black hat, you throw it on your front lawn, you come back at the end of summer, it won't really be black. It'll be like a whitish faded gray, right? But solar panels, typically the main component inside of them is silicone or silica, degrade at a much slower rate. So the day that they come out of the box, let's call it 99% efficient of the energy that they're able to produce. By the year 25, they will be still producing about 80 to 86%, 85 to 86% of their energy. Fast forward to 40 years, they'll still be producing about 60 to 65% of their nameplate energy. So realistically, they'll be producing energy for, in some cases, longer than the homeowners will be living.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to talk about it from a warranty perspective, most solar manufacturers and all the solar manufacturers that we work with will guarantee how much energy they're supposed to produce in a 25-year period.
Right.
So they have a degradation or performance guarantee. So you can definitely bank on them for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to extend it out past that point, 40 years. The one other thing to keep in mind as well too, the manufacturers that we're working with have a recycling program. So if after 25 years, you don't want those panels in your house anymore, you can remove them, we can send them back to the manufacturer, and then you get new panels put onto your home as well too.
Fantastic. So a question that I have is, when you mentioned the efficiency of the panel, depending on the angle of your roof or anything like that, is there any way that you can adapt for that? Like, is there a way that, say, your roof isn't optimized for a solar panel? How do you mitigate that?
There's two different ways. If you're in the city and you don't have a choice, we install something called optimizers. Optimizers are a base requirement on all of our installations. They offer too many benefits that we choose not to install. We choose not to not install them.
Right.
And what optimizers do, it's basically a small device that sits behind every single panel, and it just reads the electricity going through the panel with a higher level of intellect, we'll call it, just to simplify things here. And what it basically does is it optimizes the way the light is being captured, or the energy is being captured through that panel, depending on where the light is hitting it. So let's say, for example, if you have an east facing roof versus a south facing roof, and it's like a partly cloudy day, or even if it's a day that's sunny, 80% sunny, there's a very good chance that east facing panel with an optimizer could perform as well as a south facing roof. And the other way you can do it, let's say for example with some of our clients that have some land available, is a ground mount system.
Right.
So we can build a structure that will support the panels, but the easy way to think about it is if you have a house, it's mounted to the ground, it is your ground mount system.
Right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So what's the difference like in winter versus summertime in Calgary? I know obviously we have shorter days in the wintertime, and in our climate, you'll go to work and it's dark, and then you come home and it's pretty much dark. But during the day, even in the wintertime, what does that output look like, seasonality wise?
Yeah, so there's one thing that you want to take into consideration when you're getting solar put onto your property, is that when we're talking about offsets. So let's say if this powers the Taycan or it powers your home, it's over the annum. So it's about 100% of the energy over the entire year. 65 to 70%, which is going to be coming during the spring, summer, and early fall seasons. Wintertime, you'll see a pretty sharp drop off. But the nice thing is we live in a province that has good access to other natural resources that are available and abundant. And those are basically what you'll end up using during the winter months. Or you could potentially have a battery system as well too. But during the winter months, you're going to see a pretty steep fall off. And in those months, that's when you're going to be relying on the grid and pulling from there. Or once again, if you have a battery, it'll be able to pull from that as well too.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So in terms of the snow and ice that we got here, is there any sort of maintenance that the homeowner needs to worry about on the solar panel?
No, when it comes, there's pretty much maintenance free. We usually don't suggest to even clear it. There's a study done by Nate over 5 years. It actually only affects the panel production by about 3 to 5%.
Wow.
Clearing it or not. Now we do have clients that will clear it if they have an easy accessible roof. Sure, they can go ahead, but usually we just say, don't risk your life and go out to -30 kind of thing. To go clear your solar panels,
yeah.
We're lucky enough with Chinooks, and one of the other big things is the panels will be a warmer temperature than a lot of the area around. So you'll see, if you drive around Calgary and see a solar system, you'll see the snow on the roof and not on the panels, because it'll actually kind of slide off. So yeah, we don't suggest it. Like, it's not, you can if you want, but it's not something you have to do.
Even in -20, the ambient temperature of the back of the panel is sitting at about 2 to 3 degrees.
Right, so it's almost like an automatic defroster there on your solar panels. So it's kind of great that they're pretty much self-reliant, and so that's not a concern. So typically the energy is sent right to the car. Is there the ability at the moment to store it in a battery or send it back to the grid?
Yeah, absolutely. So depending on the setup that you have at your home, we have like the energy freedom packages, we'll call it for the sake of this conversation, and that allows you to be able to take that extra energy, store it into a battery pack, and then use it later in the day when your car is home. Or in Alberta, the way that it's set up, and it's more economically viable this way as well, you can sell your energy back to the grid at equal value. And during peak months, you can sell it back as high as 22 cents per kilowatt hour, which is about 3 to 4 times higher than the normal electricity rate. So solar is set up to be economically viable in Alberta because we are in a deregulated energy market. For those who don't know the term deregulated, it basically means that there's very limited rules of engagement of where people can buy their energy from and who they can buy it from. And there's just a baseline of regulations that are the governing laws that everybody has to comply to. But outside of that, it allows solar to be able to have really strong legs in comparison to other provinces.
Excellent. So what does microgeneration mean? I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I mean, the easy way to put it is if you're living in the city of Calgary, for those who have driven around the ring road, or let's say, for example, even if you use like BC, for example, they have hydro dams. In Calgary, if you drive around the ring road, you'll see some facilities and power plants that have steam coming out of them. Those are generators. Those are basically generators. They're feeding the grid of Calgary. If you're inside that grid and you have solar on your rooftop, you're a micro generator because you're in a larger grid. So therefore macro and micro. So that's what a micro generator basically is. You're putting a renewable energy power plant on your home.
Wonderful. So I know the landscape is changing very quickly in terms of incentives, federal and provincial. Are there any in place right now for Alberta to assist with the cost in installing a solar panel solution?
In some municipalities there is. There's some active incentives in Edmonton, Banff, Canmore. The city of Calgary currently does not have any, and then that feed-in tariff or incentive, if you want to call it that, of 22 cents, has been around since 2012. It was 15 cents there, it's 22 cents now. There's rumors that the rate's going to keep on going up, so that is currently active, and that we don't see that going anywhere. It's not put in place by any specific government, it's baked into the regulations. And there's also the throne speech that's happening today as well too, so we might see something come out of that. Beyond that, the city of Calgary is actually taking a look at some of these different programs, and who knows what might come, but because Edmonton's doing it, there's a very good chance that Calgary will do it at some point as well too.
I love that friendly rivalry. So are there any questions from any of our viewers? Please feel free to ask anything right now, or drop them down on any of our posts regarding Virtuoso Energy. We will get an answer for you from Virtuoso directly. Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me today. This has been super informative. I know I've learned so much about this. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Anything you'd like to discuss?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, even if you're not a Porsche client and you want to inquire about the capability of this industry, even if you're curious in their general questions and you don't have any intention to buy anything, feel free to reach out to us. We're here to not only just support Porsche, but we're here to support this industry overall in Canada, specifically in Alberta and BC at the moment. That's where we currently operate. But if you have any general questions and you're curious about anything at all, reach out to us. We're always willing to answer whatever questions you might have.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We've got to go and drive the Porsche Taycan right now because, I mean, it's a beautiful day and we just can't help ourselves. So thank you all so much for joining us today on this live stream, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.